Hello, my name's Carole Theobald and I'm the Zonta International Chair for 2022-24 for the Zonta Says NOW working group. We're in a new biennium, so what's been happening with Zonta Says NOW? I'll share my screen and show you. Our 2022-2024 biennium began at the Zonta International Convention in Hamburg. Climate change featured in many sessions at the convention, and Salla Tuominen gave a stirring address about why we are taking action. In Hamburg, our multi-nation Zonta Says NOW presentation team met for the first time. We co-presented 2 workshops to full houses. We outlined the problems and how women are key agents in creating a gender-equal, sustainable world. The convention marked the beginning of our new biennium with new goals. Zonta International announced that a Zonta Says NOW working group would be set up to put the statement on climate change into action around the world. The Zonta International President, Uta Schultz, is very keen for members to understand how our actions in one part of the world impact another. It's confronting to realise that my everyday actions in Australia add greenhouse gas emissions to the atmosphere that are leading to increased gender inequality. If I am serious about gender equality, then I also need to be serious about achieving climate justice. Zonta International has traditionally worked to improve gender equality and eliminate violence against women. The impacts of climate change are causing more disruption, and this is contributing to gender equality going backwards. So to keep ahead of the curve, we need to take gender equal climate action now so we can achieve gender equal climate justice. In the climate area, we are guided by the Paris Agreement, the Sustainable Development Goals, as well as the Sendai Framework and Commission on the Status of Women activities. The presentation team from Hamburg formed the core of the International Zonta Says NOW working group. Together, we drafted a rollout strategy. This showed how think tanks would closely work with Zonta's advocacy committees at all levels of Zonta. There are already think tanks in districts and the national level. The Intercontinental Think Tank had its first meeting in October last year. We've drafted Zonta Says NOW information for the Zonta International website and are completing a comprehensive Zonta Says NOW fact sheet with many references. Zonta International has also revamped the Zonta Says NOW logo, so watch this space, it'll be released soon. So what will Zonta Says NOW focus on in this biennium? We are really concerned about how women respond to extreme climate events. We've seen major social upheaval caused by heat, drought, floods and cyclones. And since the start of 2022, we've seen India and Pakistan ravaged by heat, and the recent floods there affected over 30 million people. In East Africa, the prolonged drought has put over 22 million people at risk of starvation. Europe and the Americas have experienced intense heat and droughts and floods, and Madagascar experienced 2 tropical storms and 3 cyclones in 6 weeks, with 1 million people affected. Last summer was Western Australia's hottest on record, and in the eastern states of Australia, the floods have been relentless. Lightning across India killed nearly 1,000 people. Increased wildfires in Europe, USA and South America. We've had snowstorms in the USA that saw thousands of flights cancelled. And as global temperatures rise, conditions will get worse for people and nature. So we need to be prepared. But it's more than climate change events that are impacting women at the moment. We're also seeing other disasters that cause the rapid displacement of people. The earthquake in Turkey and Syria has killed nearly 50,000 people and displaced around 2.5 million people. The volcano in Tonga broke undersea telecommunication cables and was followed by a tsunami with 15-meter-high waves. The recent train derailment in Ohio released toxic gas, and there was an explosion of that released toxic chlorine in a port in Jordan. Conflicts continue to be a major cause of human displacement, with the UN estimating that 100 million people were forced to leave their homes in 2022. This prompted the working group to ask the question, how well are women prepared for disasters? The Zonta Statement on Climate Change calls on governments to include women in the formation of disaster preparedness and response plans that recognise the unique needs of women and girls, prioritise their health and safety, and include responses to gender-based violence. We're using our Zonta Says NOW framework for action to identify where and how we can take action at the club, district and international levels of Zonta. This is going to be a very exciting and meaningful project that will help us plan for individual, community and country responses that leave no one behind. Members have been asking questions about how sustainable the Brisbane Convention will be. We want you to know that the Convention Committee has been working really hard on this issue, and the District 23 Zonta Says Now think tank in Australia will also be providing support. They will be researching practical and affordable ways to make the convention as green as possible. They will also be investigating and trialling speakers and topics for workshops. So it's going to be very interesting. So on a final thought today, I would like to finish with this quote from the Climate book by Greta Thunberg. She says, "To me, hope is not something that is given to you. It is something you have to earn, to create. It cannot be gained passively through standing by and waiting for someone else to do something. Hope is taking action. It is stepping outside your comfort zone." And if a bunch of weird school kids were able to get millions of people to start changing their lives, just imagine what we could all do together if we really tried. Well, with those words, I want you to think that wherever we live, Zonta Says Now will provide ideas and resources to support our gender equal climate action and help us step out of our comfort zone. Because together we will build a better world for women and girls. Thank you.